what I'm going to do is a really fancy stitch. It's called blanket stitch. So here we go. Now this is if you're doing really well with the other stuff. This is a hard stitch. It's an advanced stitch. It might be called the blanket stitch, but it's not for babies. Alright. So I'm going to start on the outside. So I go through the monster, and then I come in through the dot. And then I'm going to come pull it through. Okay. And I'm going to come back through, oops, back through here. Close enough. So with blanket stitch, I'm going to skip a spot. I'm going to go in to the monster, out of the dot. I'm going to pull that like that. Then I'm going to push that through that little loop before I pull it down. Okay, so let's see how this is going. There we go. So let's try that again. I'm going to go into the monster, and then I'm going to stick the needle in to the felt. And before I pull this shut, this loop shut here, before I let that close, I'm going to stick my needle from the middle to the outside. It's a tricky one. I'm going to show you again. So I'm going to go in through the blue, up through the black, and I'm going to pull it through. Now before I let this pull tight, well, there's still a loop in it, I'm going to stick the needle from the middle. See how I'm holding it? I'm holding my thumb at the middle of the circle that I'm sewing on, so I know which way to point the needle. And you see the edge it's getting? It's kind of cool looking. I'm going to do some more here. Outside, I can sew there's a blanket stitch or the other stitches. So I have both my monsters done, both sides, and now I'm going to sew them together. I'm going to start at the head because if I have a little bit of string poking out there, it's going to look kind of like a little piece of hair or something, so that's alright. And I'm just going to come in here and just go in a little bit, right through both of them, pull it, and in a little bit through both of them. So I'm just doing a stitch all around the edge, kind of the same stitch that we did for the teeth that one time. You could even do more than one kind of stitch around the edge if you wanted. There's no rules with these monsters. You can do them however you want. And you're supposed to be having fun. So if you're getting frustrated and not having fun, take a break. You know, try to simplify. Or another thing you can do is, if all else fails, whip out the hot glue gun. Alright? Okay, now I've sewn this whole section here, this whole arm. But if I keep going, I'm going to have a really hard time getting the stuffing in there when I only have a little opening here at the end. So I'm going to now take a little stuffing and get some stuffing up into that arm. Okay, so I'm just opening it up and using my fingers to just poke the stuffing down there. And you don't want it to be too puffed out, but that it's going to be hard. But get lots in there. If you got round ends, you want to make sure that it gets in there. And finger should do it. There. Maybe I'll put a little bit more in there. Get it in the elbow. Ha ha ha. My monster's starting to take shape. Going to finish this off the same way we finished off all the other strings, right? Stitch through, and then before the loop is pulled through, oops, I think I got an extra loop there. Yeah, I'll just work that in somehow. There we go. And one more time through and through the loop. So this is just tying little knots in the thread every time you finish, and then that way it's not going to come apart. Alright. Trim it off. I think I'm going to tie a couple of ribbons. I think I'm going to call them Hollywood. Just because it's been in the movie.